Welcome to the GCN Show, brought to you by Wiggle.
This week, we're no longer cyclists. We're people who sometimes ride bikes. All will be explained later.
We've also got dog cross, dandelion tyres, probably the best aero bod you are ever going to see, and a really cool giveaway from our mates over at Saris. This week in the world of cycling, we learned that professional cyclists can ride very fast, especially with a tailwind.
Yeah, this is Philippe Gilbert winning what is apparently the fastest ever bike race over 200 kilometres. Stage 17 of the Vuelta, and the average speed is quite astonishing, 50.6 kilometres per hour. That's like 31.5 miles an hour.
Absolutely incredible, and even more incredible when you look at the stats that Sam Bennett posted to Twitter of some of his peak values in terms of speed. In that last part with the tailwind on flat roads, his peak 20 minutes was 65.5 k's an hour.
I don't even know what to say to that. That is mind-blowing, isn't it? And no wonder, actually, that the riders, most of them anyway, had 55 tooth chain rings fitted to their bikes. They could actually keep pedalling at that speed. Although one rider, incidentally, at the Vuelta, opted for a ring with no teeth at all. Oh yeah, this is Jesus Esquerra actually proposing to his girlfriend during the final stage of the race.
Oh.
Is that a
proposal? Kind of looks like a proposal.
It is.
Does. I think that's a proposal. And she said yes by the looks of it.
Ah, that's cute. Yeah. She said yes, I presume.
No.
She said no?
No.
What did she say then?
Si. Spanish, mate.
Yeah, I see what you did there, Si. Finally this week, we learnt that sometimes the obvious still needs stating.
Yeah, in this case, the obvious being that cyclists don't break rules. People do. In fact, there's no such thing as a cyclist. There's just people riding bikes, and people walking, and people driving cars, and people on roller skates.
This, if you haven't already worked it out, is about to be a miniature GCN rant. A rant about the term cyclist being used to describe anybody that rides a bike.
Yeah, which, to be fair, doesn't sound terribly misleading in the first instance.
No, but it can have some very negative consequences, can't it? Surveys have shown that the public's perception of cyclists is that...
people who ride bikes.
Surveys have shown that people who ride bikes, the perception of them is that we break rules, is that we're a danger and a menace on the road, and that we're antisocial, and lots of other stuff.
That does sound like cyclists, actually, name it.
Well, I guess it does now, so I was right in the first instance. But also, here in the UK, statistics have shown that 80% of adults that ride bikes also own a driving licence.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. Do I behave differently when I'm cycling to when I drive my car? Am I more law-abiding? Or am I exactly the same person with the same attitudes, the same perception of rules, and the same behaviour, whether I'm cycling or driving?
Well, answer me this, Si. When you're driving in your car, are you half-wheeling other drivers and going in search of amazing gravel trails?
No, that is a fair point, Dan. You're in danger of undermining our central thesis here.
Well, I'm very sorry about that.
Yeah.
Now, if you do catch a cyclist behaving badly and jumping a red light, for example, that doesn't necessarily mean that when they're driving, they're going to do that same thing, but that's down to the fear of the consequences of getting caught for that act. But that's not to say that they won't break other rules of the road. They're pretty quite likely to speed or look at their phone, for example, whilst they're driving.
Yeah, or watch an iPad, Netflix, like this lady.
Well, you know what it's like, Si, when you get addicted to something like Stranger Things.
Yeah, that is a good point. Anyway, I think the fact is that people will break the same kind of rules, won't they, no matter what their mode of transport, based on the perception of how serious that rule is and fear of consequences. So fundamentally, it's kind of irrelevant what mode of transport is. We are just talking about the same types of people, aren't we? We're going to categorise them as to how much of an idiot they are instead. Take, for example, right, this headline that was on a BBC website the other day. It talks about cyclists bringing traffic to a halt around Bristol Airport, my local, in a protest against the airport expansion.
Whereas we think it should be people bring traffic to a halt around Bristol Airport in a protest against the airport expansion.
Exactly. And this is a fairly painful point because I got caught up in said protest, and I was actually sat there thinking, I wish they weren't riding bikes. Because I know that this is not going to be about protesters anymore. It's going to be about cyclists holding up the traffic.
More repercussions for us cyclists.
Exactly.
There was also one on the BBC last week. I'm not sure if you saw it. It was also on The Guardian here in the UK. The headline there was "Police search for cyclist who headbutted pedestrian in London."
You shouldn't laugh, but that does sound quite intriguing, and I probably would have clicked on it.
I did click on it.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Was it?
It was somebody with a bike that had headbutted somebody.
Well, there you go. That's the fact, isn't it? He wasn't a cyclist. He was unhinged, that bloke, and it should kind of be reported as such.
Yeah, there was one even more extreme than that actually over in Australia on news.com.au where they reported on an extreme battle between a car and a cyclist.
Car versus cyclist. It doesn't even have a driver anymore. It's just a poor defenceless piece of metal that some cyclist attacked whilst having a paddy, even though actually the driver scored quite an impressive right hook without even getting out of his car. Terrifying.
Now you might be asking yourselves what we're actually hoping to achieve with this miniature rant, and we were asking ourselves the same thing a few moments ago. But basically we think it's good to recognise these sorts of generalisations when we see them. Although unfortunately there's probably not that many headline writers watching this who are actually going to be able to influence it.
No, true that. There's also another point, isn't it? Slightly contentious one, so make sure you let us know what you think in the comment section. But do we, when we're riding, actually have like a collective responsibility for other people that ride bikes? Whether it's right or it's wrong, if we do get lumped into the same bracket, does our behaviour on the road have consequences for other people? I mean, basically, should we be going around headbutting pedestrians? That's what I want to know.
I think I might have come up with a solution right now.
What's that?
What we could do, Si, is behave really badly when we're walking or driving.
That's a really good point, that.
Yeah.
Bloody walkers. Yeah. Headbutting cyclists.
Right, well, let us know in the comments your thoughts on this very subject. For now, though, we are going to hand over to something a bit more positive. This is Chris Opie with his latest update as he tries to go pro again on Zwift.
We hope it's positive, mate. I haven't seen it yet. Could have been doing all sorts.
Hey everyone, my Zwift Academy update this week. And it's been a really tough week, actually, this week, because work schedule, we have a proper work schedule from 9 till 5:30 every day. And then the filming that we had to do there, this week we did get to ride indoors on turbo trainers, but that's 3.5 hours sweating buckets. That, coupled with quite a stressful week in our personal lives at home, just family not being well, things like that, have made it really hard to fit in the sessions. And that's something which I perhaps hadn't appreciated. I was really fortunate to have had a career as a professional athlete, a full-time athlete, and it's really easy to, even when all of those things are going on, to schedule your training and fit it in around, adversity like that. So really struggled with that this week, which means I've only done one workout actually, and that was on Sunday. And I wanted to talk about the pressure that I've started to put on myself for these efforts. So last Saturday and Sunday especially, I noticed it for the first time that actually I'm taking this way too seriously. And it's quite funny that pressure to perform has come back, because I thought, that had disappeared. And I quite enjoyed that actually, it gives me a bit of a buzz. So yesterday, or on Sunday rather, I did the chase the breakaway session. And as ever, every single time I've gotten a little bit behind with these sessions, I've said to myself, all right, today we'll do 2 sessions. One in the morning. If you feel good afterwards, do another one, or whatever. I've yet to do 2 sessions in 2 days. This week, I'm gonna have to do some of the group rides and some of the races, and I'm quite looking forward to that. So I've started to practice on Zwift, start to understand how it works a little bit better. And I feel like I'm probably ready to do one of the races. I feel quite fit. Even rode the track this week for a little bit as well. So we're getting there, doing different things, and I'm looking forward to it all coming to an end. Because it's not long now, it's only another 2 weeks, and then the Zwift Academy is over, and hopefully I'll have graduated and make it into the final few, which I'm quite looking forward to seeing that as well.
We're in sunny Derby, and we've just left the velodrome after what has been a pretty ridiculous morning of racing. All 3 of us having a crack at the inaugural indoor, the hour record on a penny farthing on a track, 42 degrees, ridiculous. So watch out, because there's going to be some pretty amazing footage of just what that was like. The Hurt Locker, obviously.
Yeah, it was a tough hour. It took about 60 minutes for all of us, I think, similar times. It's something that 3 days ago I wouldn't have believed was possible.
Yeah, Guinness World Record holder, Chris. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And we all stayed up.
We all left it out there. We all completed an hour, which is the first mission, and somebody had to walk away with the glory. But that's not it over yet, because we're going to build towards a team effort to crack the Victorian record set in 1891. So watch this space.
Yeah, more to come on penny farthings, boys.
It's now time for your weekly GCN Inspiration, where we choose our favourite 3 photos or videos that you've uploaded using the link to the uploader in the description below this video. If you get third, you get £50 of vouchers to spend at Wiggle. Second will get you 75, and the top prize is £100 to do anything you want with on their online shop.
Nice.
Before we get on,
It's an online shop.
Yes.
Everyone.
Yeah, well, that was confirmed in the comments.
Oh, was it?
It was. Yes, I was right with that one.
All right.
Anyway, before we get on to the 3 winners this week, you've been an inspiration to yourself, Si.
Have I?
Yes, we had this comment underneath the show last week from Leon Welford, who said, could you give me a little shout out next week? I'm always a sucker for those sorts of requests. But anyway, he is setting off to do the North Coast 500 self-supported at the age of 17, should I say, and he got the idea from your journey.
I'm so jealous. The idea of riding the North Coast 500 right now would be amazing. You'll have a fantastic time. If there's one thing I'd recommend, is make sure you get enough faff time. Yeah, that's right. There's some amazing cafes and pubs and everything else, so make sure you faff a little bit. Maybe another day to faff.
I'm also jealous, Si, that he's 17. As I'm approaching middle age. Right, without further ado, we get on to 3rd place this week. It comes in from Alaric.
Good Lord. Dan, what is going on there?
Wow, this is over in France, in La Forêt de Lande. He was touring with his brother to warm up before taking on the Velvetine road in the morning. We came across this fallen tree with the red leaf and thought we had to take some pictures. And that is how he ended up riding his bike on the tree. Now, probably not the most inspirational photo. You don't necessarily think about that and think, I'm going to go out and find a tree to ride on. But I just, A for effort, really.
Yeah.
It's a nice looking photo.
Fair enough, yeah. There's also a lot to be said for tree bathing, Dan, as well. That's a thing. Yeah. So maybe we should all stop mid-ride and do a bit of tree bathing. Yeah. It looks perilous, though, doesn't it? I wouldn't do that with road shoes on.
No, and you wouldn't do that in your car either. It's a different behaviour.
Good point. Very well. Anyway, yes, 50 quid of Wiggle vouchers winging their way to you. Right, next up, this is a more conventional inspirational photo. This makes me want to go out and ride my push bike right now. This is sent in by Alan. This is from here in the UK, from Oxfordshire. He said, with my new job, my bike commute went from 1.5k to 25k each way, and last Friday rewarded me with this view. That is superb, isn't it? I hope that's a morning shot as opposed to an evening shot, because at this time of year, that would be quite a long day at work, wouldn't it? I guess.
Look stunning, doesn't it? Love the windmill in there as well.
Fantastic. What a saddlebag.
I know.
As well, that's a giant, isn't it?
You must have a lot of work clothes to change into when you get there. Right, finally, in first place, getting £100 of Wiggle vouchers this week, is Brian from Snoqualmie Pass in Washington.
That sounds like you almost pronounced that correctly, Dan.
I just looked it up. I took my son Duncan on his first real gravel ride of 10 miles, including going through a 2-mile unlit former railroad tunnel and abandoned grade along a reservoir in the mountains. I love that. I took my son out on a new bike that he got very recently the other day too, and he was absolutely loving it. And it's great to see kids enjoying riding their bikes, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Also, though, when your kid falls off and puts a massive hole in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Si rang me in tears about the fact that his child was in tears because he had a massive amount of road rash.
Yeah.
Gravel rash.
I felt pretty bad. Yeah, come mountain biking before school, it'll be fun. Ooh.
Yeah. I sent him a text back saying, well, he's got to learn. Just be brutal. Anyway, please get involved for next week with your inspirational photos using that link that's in the description below.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
Cycling shorts now. I'm going to start with a shout out to pro cyclist Willie Smith, who managed to finish the Vuelta, his first ever Grand Tour, despite this horrific looking injury.
Wince just looking at that. It looks so painful, doesn't it? I sent him a message on Instagram actually, and he said that he had 10 stitches underneath and then 6 stitches put over the top so that he could continue the rest of the race without risk of getting it infected, but also so that the remaining dirt could get out.
Oh, mate. Double-decker stitches. That is bad, isn't it? Anyway, yet another example of a professional cyclist managing to finish a stage race with brutal injuries, far more than just pain in the legs.
Yeah. Although that was technically pain in the leg still, wasn't it? If you think about it.
Yeah, all right, it was. But it does make you wonder, doesn't it? What kind of work ethic or sort of sense of duty does a pro cyclist have that makes them put themselves through that? I mean, I guess to a certain extent, he'd still just have a sore knee if he was sat on the sofa not racing. But nevertheless, Willie Smith actually took to Twitter to give his own reasons, which make for some pretty emotive reading. So if you're interested, make sure you give him a follow on Twitter. Willie Smurfy, I believe.
That's right, yeah. He's also on YouTube as well. So if you like your behind-the-scenes stuff, make sure you check him out. He wasn't
there's not like knee footage, is there, on YouTube?
I didn't want to look for it, actually. I was bad enough looking at the photo.
Let us know in the comments.
He wasn't the only rider to manage to soldier through to the finish with some pretty gruesome injuries. This is a picture of James Knox on the DeKernick Quickstep bus, and this is Max Richesi. They'd both been involved in that crash on stage 19, and that's them getting ready to compete over 200 kilometres roughly in the mountains the following day.
Oh man. Oh, it does look brutal. But fair play to them both. They made it through that mountain stage and finished in Madrid, despite Richesi there looking like he had enough pads on to actually fall off again. Or play a game of ice hockey.
Yeah, I was going to say, he looked like he'd be in goal in an ice hockey match.
Yeah, that's it. All right, changing tack a little bit now. That's a pun for you there, Dan, as you'll find out. Our partners over at Continental, legendary tyre manufacturer, are debuting a new range of tyres with a more eco-friendly type of rubber. It's called Taraxagum. It's made out of dandelions.
Which is genius when you think about it, isn't it? Particularly for people here in the UK. Anyone here will know, I can't comment on lawns abroad, but if you own a lawn here in the UK, dandelions are unstoppable, pretty much. And in fact, I reckon I could make at least 2 tyres out of the dandelions only on my small patch of grass.
Yeah, guaranteed harvest every single year, not to mention the fact that it'd be really fun spreading the seeds for the following year. You know,
such a child.
Well, it's true though, isn't it? Anyway, it was the brainchild, actually, of a PhD student called Cara Recker. She now works for Continental. Funny that.
It is funny that, isn't it? We're going to change gear again now because Lachlan Morton of EF Education First has continued his alternative calendar, which is basically where he races off-road events as well as on-road events.
Yeah, it's basically a little bit like Mathieu van der Poel and Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, except there's actually no pressure on him to win stuff, which seems like a bonus.
Which seems like a win-win situation,
doesn't it?
Anyway, at the weekend, he did the 3 Peak Cyclo-Cross Challenge, and he finished a very creditable 4th, which is even better than our own debutant from last year, Oscar Pujol, who got 8th, and way better than Mr. Cy Richardson here, who's never done better than 40.
Yeah, but I'd long since retired, hadn't I?
Well, so you should have done.
Well, yeah, okay. Anyway, if you're wondering, the winners this year, the women's event was won by Kerry McPhee. That was her first outing ever, so that's pretty blooming impressive. And then the men's race was won for the millionth time by Rob Jebb, who basically, it's like he was bred specifically to win that event, isn't he? Champion fell runner and also top bike rider. So we're
going to describe him as a runner or a person?
Good point, actually. Well, there you go, a man that defies categorisation.
Yes. Also, another off-road event taking place at the weekend was the first round of the Cyclocross World Cup over in Iowa in the USA. Already, midway through September.
Well, yeah.
Jeremy was there to capture all the action. What some very exciting races. Magali Rochette took the women's event, and it was Ellie Isabert who took the men's. Their first World Cups actually for both of them.
Yeah.
But Jeremy seemed to be most excited about a slightly different event involving dogs.
So every year, Jingle Cross has a special event called the Dog Cross. This is an event that I can really get behind. It's a cyclocross track that you run with your dog. And I don't know about you, but if I was a dog, it seems like there'd be a pretty good treat at the end of this. Say a couple words with your hands about what's happening here.
It's been going on for about 3 years or so now, and the object is to get the dogs out of the house and get the pet parents involved in the doggy cross. And essentially it's 3 laps, and there's a couple obstacles that the dogs and the pet parents have to do, and it's all about having fun, guys. I mean, that's what the whole day is all about.
This is a serious race. They're 1 lap in, but not only do the dogs have to run the course, the owners actually have to do the obstacles as well. So here, this woman is coming up with her dog, and now she has to do a dog roll. She has to do the dog roll. Here she comes in. Hang on. Boom. Dog roll. Boom. She's coming in. Dog roll. Can you imagine what the dog is thinking right now?
It was very fun. She was trying to run the first 2 races, so we had a blast. She was ready to go.
Arlo, how did you feel about the race today? Did you feel good?
My word.
That was good, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. You know, Jeremy might have retired from bike racing. It's a shame he wasn't able to take his dog Moose to that, because I suspect the pair of them would have stood quite a good chance at that.
Well, I'm not sure. He was out of breath at the start of that video. I think he's let himself go since he retired.
Yes. Right. Anyway, speaking of Jeremy, you'll remember his video recently where he checked out the new Saris MP1 movement platform, which has been getting rave reviews actually. And it's basically somewhere where you place your indoor trainer on top of, and it gives just enough movement to your bike to basically simulate, far more realistically, riding outdoors. So it allows you to tip the bike from side to side and also move forward and backwards as you pedal.
Looks cool, doesn't it?
It does.
Also mentioned though in that very same video is the fact that all of Saris's products are now united under the same brand name.
That's right. So yeah, previously you had the Saris racks for your cars, like the famous Bones rack, also cycling infrastructure stuff, whereas their really big trainer range was under the Cyclops brand name.
But not anymore.
Not
which
anymore.
basically means that Saris.com is your one-stop shop.
That's right, and to celebrate this fact, they are very kindly giving away Saris H3 direct drive smart trainers plus mats to 3 lucky viewers.
They will be very lucky indeed. The H3 is their super quiet indoor trainer, which can simulate gradients of up to 20%. It can take 2,000 watts of power,
Wow.
which is just about enough for you and I, Si.
Together.
Yes, and also it's got an inbuilt power meter that's accurate to plus or minus 2%.
Yeah, so if you want to enter this giveaway, then click on the link in the description beneath this one. Do you reckon you could put a tandem on an indoor trainer?
I still don't think we'll get over 2,000 watts.
Fair enough.
It is time now for hack/bodge of the week.
Well, sorry, where's the forward gone?
Oh, we did away with forward/ last week.
What? I'm
because
away
in the
for 1 week and you get rid of the forward?
Yeah, in the comment section the previous week, somebody pointed out that saying / makes us sound old, Si. Because you don't need that, you just need to say slash.
What?
Can't even say slash.
What happens to backslashes?
I don't know, actually. Are they a thing?
Well, they were.
I don't know. Anyway, should we crack on with hack/bodge of the week?
All right.
First up this week, we had this one sent in from Amanda in New Zealand learning English and found this funny saddle in wintertime.
Don't know about funny, that looks cozy.
My wife has owned something very similar for over a decade, and I threatened to throw it out the other day.
For a saddle?
Yes. Yeah, it's on her sort of hybrid bike that I got her from a long time ago. I threatened to throw it out the other day and she said no, and I did it anyway.
Oh.
She doesn't know that yet. I hope she doesn't watch this.
She does now.
Oh no, don't put that in, please.
Was it made out of an old guinea pig? Or is that just the way it looks?
No, it was. Didn't involve any animals.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Right, this one, next up. This could be one of my favourite all-time hacks or bodges, although I think we already know the answer to whether it is a hack or a bodge. This was sent in by Scott Solis from Moscow in Russia. He says, I saw this absolutely fascinating aero device in this weekend's Gran Fondo in Moscow. So there we go. This gentleman has shown how a simple yoga mat can make a dramatic difference. That is a dramatic difference.
I like the way he's looking over at the camera like, what are you looking at? Is there anything strange about how I look? Also, surely if he gets into an aero tuck, that thing's in the air above him.
That's a good point.
He's got to be in an unaero position for that to be an aero aid.
Well, maybe it's actually just a rucksack filled with some really useful things.
Might be a camelback.
Maybe it is a hack, mate.
No, bodge.
All right, bodge.
First one, we don't say for hack or bodge for the first one. Bodge for that as well.
Bodge, okay.
Right, next up, Lynn from Canada. In an effort to get a little green without buying another bike, I
You just bypassed where she lives just so you don't have to pronounce another Canadian place.
No, it's all right. Sherwood Park in Alberta. I can do that.
Very good, mate.
I attached the carton to a rack with heavy zip ties and ran aluminium rails for stability. The rack has a quick release, which is the key to functionality. As an added bonus toward the object of being green, I attached a nylon strap to allow me to take the carton into the store with me and thus forego the need for use of a shopping plastic bag.
Love it! Lynn, that is great, not least because of the infogram that you've made on our, but for us.
The composition of the hack / I want to say / again then, sorry. The hack / bodge submission is impeccable.
But that's a hack, without a doubt, isn't it? I love it. Fantastic. Right, next up we got this from Dan, sent in from Skips in the UK. He said, chain guard, calf chain set tattoo protector. I've never seen anything like it and would love your thoughts.
I've never seen anything like that either.
No, I haven't.
Myself. Why would you need that?
There's a lot of zip ties. I'm not a fan of zip ties on bikes, Dan.
No, and you're not going to get a fourth cat tat, as you rightly point out from that, are you?
No, also, look at the staining on the guard. That's a lot of oil on that chain, I think.
Bodge.
Absolutely.
I don't even know
bodge.
what it's for. If you do,
100%.
let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, thanks for sending that one in there.
Moving on, we had this one from Paul, who was looking online at an online store, I expect so,
All right.
for a holder to neatly store CO2 cartridges and couldn't find a suitable one, so made this one from wood and hex nuts.
Wow. I love what you've done there. quick question. Why have you got so many CO2 canisters? Did you win a competition?
Yeah.
Or do you get a lot of punctures? Because
no, Paul.
I think it might be time to go tubeless.
Question
Paul.
needs answering.
Yeah, a CO2 canister should last you most of the year, I think. Excuse me.
I'll carry on with the next bit whilst
Thanks.
you recover from that. This came in from Jack over in Northamptonshire. Punctured in the woods and the valve kept coming off when I tried to pump it. So I knew the pump would have to stay connected to the valve for the air to stay in. So I managed to find an unused poo bag and tie the pump to the wheel. And I got 5 miles to my mate's house where I used a track pump. I wonder if he went... I mean, presumably he was searching for anything to tie it on and just happened to stumble upon the unused poo bag.
That is one of the best things I've ever seen. But so dangerous. Like, basically, you trusted your life with an unused poo bag. Oh my God.
Imagine giving the explanation afterwards if he had crashed and gone over the handlebars. How did it happen? Well, I didn't use the unused poo bag well enough to tie my pump between my spokes and it got caught in the wheel.
That'd be like a coroner's report, wouldn't it? Like, the poo bag wasn't made of stern enough material, unfortunately.
Bodge, sorry. I said hack then, what am I thinking?
Oh, but thank you very much for sending that one in as well. That's really made my day, quite frankly. All right, Peter sent this one from Vis in Croatia. He said he spotted an elderly gentleman riding along in Vis with a wooden top tube. After a brief chat with him, he explained the story. 20 years ago, when he was a young lad, he added the wooden top tube as a shelf to help him transport bottles of gas to an old lady on his street.
Brilliant, isn't it?
That is absolutely fantastic, because, you know, we'd probably just dismiss that as an out-and-out bodge, but you've done your research, and actually it turns out the guy's a legend, and he's made a shelf, which is a hack.
Another example of a great submission with full details.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. Hack from me too.
Also, this is a very nice place. Recommend going there.
Yes, right, that's all for this week's hacks/bodges of the week. Don't forget to get involved next week by using the uploader, a link to which is in the description below.
It's caption competition now, that point in the show where you get a chance to win a much coveted GCN Camelback water bottle. All you got to do is caption a photo that we are about to give you. To give you an idea of what's needed, here is last week's photo, and we're about to announce the winner.
We are. This was Geoffrey Bouchard of Ages Ago. Won the King of the Mountains in the end at the Vuelta.
Did he?
With some water coming out of his mouth. Stefan Hofmeister is a genius. His caption is, "Does this rider look familiar?" Yeah, I would say it's a spitting image of Geoffrey Bouchard. Very well designed.
That is
indeed.
very good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stefan
Like that
Hofmeister, yeah, here you go. GCN Camelback, water bottle, coming your way.
Yes, you just need to write to us on Facebook with your address so we can send it out to you.
Yes, please.
This week's photo comes in from the Tour of Britain, which concluded on Saturday. I am going to get you started.
Go on then, mate.
Hello, mate. The bills come for your bike.
Oh, that's good. Might be some regional dialect going on
for
there.
international viewers, the bill is a slang name here in the UK for the police. In fact, there was a long-running, I was going to say documentary then, wasn't it? It wasn't. It was a series
it's a TV
called The Bill.
program, Dan, yeah.
It was based on real life.
Anyway, you could probably all do far better than that. So please, let us have your captions in the comment section down below, and we will look forward to choosing a winner next week. Hopefully, up there with Stefan's for sheer quality, sheer genius.
We are shortly going to be letting you know what's coming up on GCN over the next week. Before that, we're going to go through a few of our favourite comments from the previous week. But right now, we're going to answer one of your training-related questions. This, of course, is your opportunity each week to win 3 months free subscription to Zwift. All you've got to do to be in with a chance is leave your training-related question in the comments section below, making sure that you use the hashtag AskGCNTraining. And the lucky winner this week is Bokai Grummel. Apologies if I've really mangled that. The question is, what's the best way to train and stay fit during the winter months? Really short question, a potentially very long answer.
Yes.
And so we've decided to stick to 2 key pieces of advice. The first of which is indoor training.
That's right. So, funnily enough, indoor training is an incredibly potent way of training, particularly through the winter. There is no time wasted, is there? There's no freewheeling, there's no stopping at traffic lights. You can basically get a 2-hour ride done in 1 hour.
Yeah. In fact, you could probably get a meaningful training session done in half or even 20 minutes.
I think you can, yeah.
In fact, I got pretty fit in the space of 10 weeks by doing less than 4 hours a week on an indoor trainer at the start of this year.
Yeah, you also got pretty unfit from not doing very much since then.
Oh, I have done a really good job of that, actually.
Yeah, you have. Anyway, I suppose historically, indoor training has always been really good, but I'd have hesitated to recommend it because it was kind of a bit boring, wasn't it?
I avoided it at all costs.
I did as well. But now, actually, it's got to be said, things like Zwift, they make it actually like it's a thing all of its own.
Entertaining, isn't it? And addictive, I have to say as well.
Exactly.
Not enough to keep me on the bike after that 10 weeks, but still. You might be questioning, though, whether doing all this high-intensity work over the winter is going to lead to a premature peak and not going so well in summer. But you needn't worry, and the example's in our next piece of advice, which is to take up cyclocross.
To be fair, it did lead to a premature peak for you, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
But no, cyclocross is absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Super high intensity, 45 minutes to an hour. A brilliant, brilliant way of racing and getting out there in the winter months. And let's face it, it hasn't done Mathieu van der Poel, Wout van Aert or Marianne Vos any harm, has it, with their summer form?
A winter full of intensity for them, and they've been absolutely flying in the summer. In fact, it seems to have aided their form on the road.
That's right.
I have to say. Also, the other great thing about cyclocross is that it teaches you some great bike handling skills, doesn't it? And it's just generally good fun, really, that sport.
It is indeed. Well, yeah, it teaches you bike handling skills, and generally speaking, touch wood, if you fall off on your cross bike, it tends not to hurt quite so much. Just make sure you fall off on the grassy bits or the sandy bits.
Good luck anyway with keeping fit this winter. Hopefully that advice helps you.
Yeah, don't fall off at all if you can help it.
Right, coming up, a few of the comments actually that came underneath last week's show, Si. This came in from a singer-songwriter. I only drink out of water bottles, even at home at the dinner table. This, of course, is us asking you how you know you're taking your cycling too seriously.
Yes, okay, that's pretty bad, that one. Next up, Mark McManus. My wife thinks I do, but I don't think I take cycling too seriously. I asked my kids, Eddie, Greg and Fausto, they totally agree with me.
That's a very good one. Torsten wrote in and said, you know you're taking your cycling too seriously when you shave your legs for Zwift training.
Well, you know, that kind of motivation that you get from looking down at a pair of freshly shaved pins. I've not known that motivation for quite some time now.
No, but, I haven't either.
No.
And finally, Andrew Robinson wrote in with, I noticed myself naturally moving into an aero position whilst pushing the trolley around IKEA last weekend.
To be fair, that you know that you're not taking cycling seriously enough when your weekend is spent at IKEA. I mean, come on, what are you doing? You're either on your bike or your feet are on the sofa. Yeah, exactly. Ask your partner to push you around. You get pushed around all the time by your partner, don't you, mate?
Yeah, I'm always in the trolley, yeah. Also, underneath the best saves of the season with Opie, Hecope puts, Chris always turns his head a bit to the left just to show his jawline. I see what you mean there. I mean, he has to look like John Travolta though, doesn't he? So
yeah, he does.
Be a deliberate move.
That's it, yeah, if you've got a jawline like that. Wow. Right then, lastly, underneath the video that Hank presented on Saturday, where we looked at adaptive cycling with the good people at Help for Heroes, and Fletcher Chambers said, I love that GCN is more than watts and wind resistance. This was a really powerful piece and wonderfully done. So thank you very much. Yeah, much appreciated, actually.
Yeah, if you haven't already watched that video, make sure you do so, because it's really a brilliant insight into those amazingly heroic people.
Yeah.
Right, let's tell you what's coming up on the channel over the next 7 days, starting with Wednesday, where we're going to have a look at 5 boutique bike brands. Thursday, we're going to show you how to fuel on long rides. And on Friday, we are back with Jeremy, who's going to be bringing us more of his expertise on the world of cyclocross and gravel.
That's right. And on Saturday, in the lead up to the World Championships, which is always a highlight of the year, and actually this time it's on the UK shores in Yorkshire, none other than Yorkshire. So Ollie has done a handy guide of things that Yorkshire cyclists know. And in case you hadn't realised, Ollie is a Yorkshire cyclist, so he does know.
Very proud of it.
That's right. And then on Sunday, it's a bit of a nail biter actually. Can Jeremy and I qualify for the World Gran Fondo Championships? Can we put our money where our mouths are?
Yeah. Si won't even tell me, so I have to watch the video.
Yeah, it's true.
On Monday, Si and I are actually going to be in Yorkshire, aren't we? Doing a preview show this Sunday night, actually. But on Monday, that video will be released, looking at all the riders and the courses for the Yorkshire Worlds. Then on Tuesday, we're back in the set. Well, not in set, actually, are we? Well, we've got the GCN Show anyway, still to be confirmed.
It's exciting. So Sunday night, we're presenting the preview show live, aren't we?
Yeah.
From a brewery, with Zwift. So goodness knows how that's going to turn out.
The GCN Show is not confirmed. I'm not sure I'm going to turn up.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, and then on Monday we are filming at the SRAM pop-up store in Harrogate as well. So loads of cool stuff going on.
Also a brewery?
No, it's a coffee shop. So it might be good to sober you up. We are getting towards the end of the GCN Show, but don't worry, we still have time for Extreme Corner, and this week it is seriously extreme. This is the Red Bull Hardline, where the jumps, Dan, are so big, I'm told, the mountain bikers have to put ankle supports on so that they can actually land them without rupturing their Achilles tendons. That's pretty extreme if you ask me. Here we go.
Welcome to Red Bull Hardline. We're here with Trials legend Danny McCaskill. You ready to check out the course?
Most definitely.
Look
Let's
at
do
that.
it.
Yeah! Hot crumpets! Yeah! Oh, he's always been. Oh, look at that! I love his movement on a bike. He's so sick. Yeah?
I think so.
You sure?
Yeah, I think so.
They make it look so easy, eh?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a case as well, but
I mean, that is extreme. My fear with this is always how extreme it's going to get, because they continually have to go bigger and further and higher and do more tricks than the previous year.
Yeah.
Mind boggles.
It does boggle a little bit, doesn't it? But
I think I sounded old just then.
You did, yeah. Ankle supports, that sounds like a good thing.
Yeah. They don't do them big enough for your ankles, though, do they? If you ever choose to do jumps like that. Anyway, should we finish now?
I do extreme jumps, Dan, you know I do. Yeah, there was a video about my extreme jumps. They were really extreme. Anyway, right, thank you very much for joining us here on the GCN Show this week. If you want to watch another cracking GCN video, I say another cracking, hopefully this one's been all right.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jeremy did a genuinely cracking video from Sunday where he went to, the birthplace of mountain biking to ride with some of the godfathers of gravel riding, WTB. So make sure you check it out, that's very cool.
Yeah, if you want to see a good video, head to this one of Jeremy's.